like that music. That's me. Anytime a good beat starts playing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Juanita Mercer. I am the founder, chief heart leader of Lead My Heart Executive Coaching and Consulting. I am so blessed to be here this morning with y'all. I pray that you're having a wonderful, wonderful, tactful Thursday, where we're being a little bit more tactful and careful and considerate of how we address things that certainly need to be addressed, but putting a lot more prayer and intent into how we do it. And I think that's a perfect lead into today's episode 3 of this series, Purposeful Partnerships, where we're actually talking about letting go and moving on from counterproductive relationships. Now, before I get started, okay, I have a job for you, right? So let me go ahead and get my stuff together, because I'm not only hosting, but I'm producing as well. Wearing many hats here. Here we go. You know what I want you to do. And I want you to, number one, comment. Let me know that you're here. Say hello. What's up? How are you doing? Okay. And then tag some people. Tag your friends, tag your family, tag your coworkers, tag your supervisors, tag your other constituents, okay, and stakeholders. Just tag some people. Tag some people you don't like, but you know they need this, okay? Maybe tag that person who you're in partnership with, who is being too um self-centered or is not really nurturing the partnership like they should. Tag them, okay? Tag and share where share on your timeline, share in those groups, copy the link, share it in a text message, okay? But share this because why? It is good stuff, y'all. It's good stuff that's going to help you reach your goals, that's going to help you have the right mindset towards the things of God, and how we need to look at things and be more intentional about the decisions that we make. It's going to help. So help someone by tag and sharing. And then for those of you who are following actually on LinkedIn and Facebook, I don't often talk about those, but I do want you to follow me on those sites. And then for anyone who's watching on YouTube, I want you to subscribe. I got a little tongue tied there. I want you to subscribe, okay? And I want you to ring my bell, ring my bell, ring it, ring it. Yeah, I want you to do that. I want you to do that, okay? I want you to ring my bell, so that you don't miss any great content that I'm dropping, okay? So y'all, it is episode number 3. And let's get into this, okay? Because this is going to be a really great episode to tie everything together. And our 3 objectives today or this morning are, number 1, to learn how to move on from counterproductive relationships gracefully. Not just move on, but to move on gracefully, okay? And that's the key word there, because cutoff game is at its strongest these days. People are ghosting people. I mean, just getting lost, okay? Disappearing on people. And that is not cool. It's not okay. We are going to learn how to move on from counterproductive relationships gracefully, okay? And then also, considering the counterproductivity of the relationship, because it's not a purposeful partnership. And that's why we need to move on. Okay. Number 2, we want to understand the consequences of counterproductive relationships. Yes, y'all, there are many. Okay. And number 3, to commit to pursuing purposeful partnerships only, or when you finally assess that relationship and you realize this is only that, counterproductive to me, to on gracefully, okay? And how do we do that? Let me move this over a little bit more. There we go. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. Pop quiz. For those of you who've been watching you've been watching the episodes, but definitely episode number 2 yesterday about nurturing purposeful partnerships. What was one of the 8 ways to nurture a purposeful partnership? Okay, I want you to think about that just to kind of, you know, get us in the right tone for this morning. What was one of the 8 ways? Okay, just one way. What was one of the 8 ways? Here's a hint. It was something that you needed to do for yourself first. That's one of them, and that was the first one. Am I jogging your memory a little bit? What was it? Okay. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, here we go. Assess yourself. Number 1, it was to love yourself. That was number 1. Did you get that? Did you remember? Or maybe you didn't watch it yet. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not judging you. Okay. You still have some time to catch up. But number 1 was to love yourself. Number 2, you got to love your partner as yourself. And that's why loving yourself is prerequisite. Because you can't love someone as yourself if you don't first love yourself. Number 2 was to formalize your commitment. Because over 60% of people are honest about that and saying that they want commitments to be formalized. Yes, we do. And when we say we don't, it's really a defense mechanism. Number 4, demonstrate your appreciation. What is that partner's love language? Even in business, how does that business want to be appreciated? Number 5, protect your partner. Warn them, okay? Protect them from others, of course, but then also protecting them from you as well. Number 6, affirm your partner. Let them know you appreciate this relationship. They're doing a great job. You love how they communicate. You love that they communicate consistently. You love that they trust you. What is it? Affirm them. Number 7, communicate honestly and consistently. Honestly and consistently. Not just consistently, but you're not honest. And not just that you're being honest, but someone has to look for you. We don't want to do that. And number 8, never, ever stop nurturing your partnership. When you know you've got a purposeful partnership, never, ever stop nurturing it, okay? All right, because relationships are hard. We know that. But here's a question for you. I thought this is a really cool fact that as I was researching some things, I came across. Do you know the most popular days of the year for breakups? Because we're talking about letting go and moving on, okay? Personal relationships, professional relationships, business relationships. Do you know the most popular days of the year? What do you think they are? What do you think? This is kind of interesting. I'm going to give you a second. And you can comment, but just let me know, what do you think are the most popular days of the year for people to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore, or I'm not gonna move forward with this, or yeah, I don't think I want this, partnership or relationship to impact my holiday or this day or this year. I'm giving you some clues, okay? What do you think? Here we go. A recent, I actually was looking at several recent articles in like the past year, and different articles said different things, but many of them agree that these were the most popular days of the year for breakups: New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Okay. Why? Because most people are saying, I'm not going into the new year like this, right? New year, new things, new me. And I'm not going to continue in this relationship. Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh, y'all. Valentine's Day. Can you believe that? I was just like blown away to think that on a date celebrating love, I guess people are just like, no, you know what? Or maybe you didn't celebrate it right, or you act like it wasn't a big deal and I can't do this, you know. March, spring. Okay, they really alluded March to like this idea of spring cleaning, of like, I guess, clearing out things in your life. I don't know. But that was what some of the articles talked about. March being a popular month for breakups. Didn't know that. Summer. Y'all, summertime. Why do you think? Why? Because people want to be hot to trot and like get out there, travel, not have to worry about their commitments. You know, when is that happening? Cal, I agree. Any day, never a good day. Absolutely. I totally agree. Um, but then also Thanksgiving, y'all, Thanksgiving to Christmas time. Why? Because people are thinking about the holidays. People are thinking about, okay, do I want this person to be around for the holidays? You know, for Thanksgiving, do I want them to be around for Christmas? But y'all, leading up to Christmas, one of the biggest holidays we celebrate, right? With our boo, with our partners, December 11th. Y'all, by far is the most popular day for breakups. I had no idea about this. I thought that was really interesting. And it's because right around December 11th, that's when people start planning for Christmas. Gosh, we procrastinate, don't we? But this idea of planning for travel, planning what that's going to look like, making final arrangements, and it's like, yeah, got to cut my losses here. Ah, but it's so sad. It's so sad because regardless of the day, it's just never a good day for a breakup because it's going to be a really just hard time. Maybe not for you, but for definitely the other person, you know, even if it's amicable, there's still that sense of loss, right? So it's like no matter the circumstances, there's definitely some healing that needs to take place. So I thought that was really interesting as we talk about letting go, and moving on from relationships that aren't, you know, best suited for us and our pursuit of purpose. So here's another question for you. Of the 35 reasons why couples break up, what were the top 5? Y'all, and this article was just published on February 6th. So I thought this was really, really interesting to talk about this morning. 35 reasons, y'all. Okay, come on. We just dig in for everything, right? And I get that there are a lot of reasons why people break up, but what were the top 5? What do you think? Okay, here we go. Number 1 was cheating. Number 2, unrealistic expectations. Number 3, falling out of love. 4, inability to confront problems. And number 5, too many differences to resolve. Those were the top 5. Okay, so Cal, you're saying like communication, financial, no information. I definitely, I saw those on the list. I saw I lack of communication was definitely on there. But what I was really surprised to see was that there was no mention of values. You know, perhaps that goes with too many differences to resolve. Maybe. I did see that purpose doesn't align. I think a lot of times you see so many couples. You have like the person with the global anointing, and then you have that person with the I love my local, you know, with the local anointing, and then they marry. It's like, wait, what? You have one person who knows they have to travel, like that's their life, that's their future, that's their vision for their life, to travel, to be mobile, all of this. That's the lifestyle they want. But then you marry someone who says, like, yeah, but I'm good right here where I am. Oh my gosh, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Right? Or you're like a business partnership, and it's like you get with a vegan company versus a company, that works in like agriculture. You're like, hey, let's see what we can do. And it's like, why? Like, this is probably not going to end well, even if you're trying to stretch some kind of like partnership here. It's like you don't have the same values. You're not moving towards the same kind of purpose. What's going to happen here? So, um, dealing with like agriculture and cattle and all that stuff. Like, come on. But you see these kind of things trying to happen, people trying to force things to happen because something might seem lucrative. The benefits are there. I'll say this, well, I won't say that. That's going to take benefits. Let me just say that. Some people get caught up in the benefits of the relationship and not so much the purpose or values with it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But I thought that was really interesting. So what is a counterproductive relationship? Because that's what we're talking about today. We're no longer talking about the purposeful partnership because we know it's not that. Because it doesn't meet those 8 qualities first, being anchored in purpose. So a counterproductive relationship is any relationship that is not encouraging or supporting you in fulfilling your purpose. It's that simple. It has nothing to do with that person. That person isn't broken. That person isn't pathetic. That person isn't, what are some of the horrible things we say about people during breakups, right? That person isn't ridiculous or no good or not. They're not suitable for you and your purpose. That relationship isn't, but they're a prize for someone else. They're wonderful for someone else, just not for you. And so how dare we, in the midst of relationships breaking up or moving on, that we talk so negatively about people and we judge people when they're simply not, that relationship simply isn't suitable for you, but there's someone else's answered prayer. Everything that gets on your nerves, everything that is not suitable for you is someone else's answered prayer. Some or other organization's ideal employee, someone else, some other business's ideal partner. Okay, so we have to be careful with that. How dare we judge people in such a way? No, simply because someone isn't suitable for you does not mean that they're not ideal for someone else. Okay, so we're talking about the relationship, not the person. Okay, so the word today is Genesis chapters 12 through 13. Was it just those two? Yeah. And I would definitely encourage you to keep reading, of course, everything before and after the whole Bible. But specifically coming from Genesis 12 and 13, those chapters, talking about the relationship between Abraham and Lot. Now, if you don't know, Lot was Abraham's nephew. Lot's father had passed away. And Abraham's father was the caretaker for Lot. But once Abraham's father passed away, and of course, Lot's father had already passed away, Abraham basically became a guardian to Lot. Okay, and that context is really important for you to understand what's happening here. But chapter 12, verse 1 says, "The Lord has said to Abraham, leave your native country, your relative, and your father's family." Let me repeat that. The Lord has said to Abraham, leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family. Being very specific. Okay? And go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who treat you with contempt. All the families on earth will be blessed through you. So, where's the purposeful partnership here? It's with Abraham and God. God is making covenant with Abraham, and all Abraham has to do is agree. So, the purposeful partnership here is between Abraham and God. But look what happens in verse 4, because we're all so smart, aren't we? So it says, so Abraham departed as the Lord had instructed. Okay? And Lot was with him. Did you catch that? Now, verse 4 again. So Abraham departed as the Lord had instructed, and Lot went with him. Now, let me ask you something. Based on what you heard in verses 1 through 3, was Lot supposed to go with Abraham? No, he wasn't. Even though Abraham, I know, as we all do, I've done it too. Oh, but Lord, I'm his guardian. But Lord, who else will take care of him? But Lord, but Lord, but Lord, isn't this the right thing to do? I know what you've said, but I just don't feel right about it, Lord. Like I need to do this. I need to. So basically we're saying, God, I need to be disobedient to you. You know? And God never addresses the fact that Lot is with him. Okay? Not directly. He doesn't. But over and over again, okay, the writer of Genesis, I don't know who wrote says, I had to turn my pages, sorry. Along with his wife and Lot. And that was in 13. It was like saying, yeah, Abraham's wife, of course, but and Lot, right? And then in chapter 13, verse 5, Lot, who was traveling with Abraham. So as you're reading, you see the author being very particular in saying that, yeah, and Lot, as if, can you gather for yourself that he really wasn't supposed to be there? Okay. And so we have this relationship that's being forged. But this is what happens. It says that in verse 5 in chapter 13, Lot, who was traveling with Abraham, had also become very wealthy because Abraham was like so wealthy. So it's being, detailed here and letting you know that because Lot was with him, he also had become very wealthy. With flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and many tents. But the land could not support both Abraham and Lot, with all their flocks and herds living so close together. So disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. At that time, Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. So finally, not Abraham, not quite yet. Finally, Abram said to Lot, let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. After all, we are close relatives. The whole countryside is open to you. Take your choice of any section of the land you want, and we will separate. If you want the land to the left, then I will take the land on the right. And if you prefer the land on the right, then I'll go to the left. Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord or the beautiful land of Egypt. Talking about like Eden. Yeah. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. Of course he did. Of course he did, right? He went there with his flocks and servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom and settled among the cities of the plain. But the people of the area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord. And it says that after Lot had gone, guess what God does? He renews his covenant with Abram. And then shortly after, breathes his breath onto Abram, and he becomes Abraham. The breath of God being breathed into him after he was back in alignment. Okay, don't miss that. So that's the context of bringing this biblical representation of a counterproductive relationship. Okay, so now let's talk about how to move on from counterproductive relationships gracefully. Okay, let's do this. Number one of the 7 steps to letting go and moving on. Okay, number one, you got to pray for God to reveal the inadequacies and to guide your actions. That's so important. And where do I get that? Because in verse 4, right before Abram's attention was brought to the fact, like, we can't continue like this. It says that this was the same place where Abram had built the altar, and there he worshiped the Lord again. What does worship look like? It's praying, it's giving praise to God, it's honoring his presence. And when you do that, God can't help himself but to reveal the things that aren't right in your life, to reveal the things that aren't benefiting you. Why? Because he wants to draw you closer to him. And as you draw closer to God, you can't hang on to things that don't fit. You just can't. The things that are not productive for you, the things that aren't beneficial, or are, again, aligning you with your purpose. And so prayer, asking God to reveal the inadequacies and to guide your actions, is number one. Okay. And again, we're talking about how to do this gracefully. How often have we, said, okay, I can't do this anymore, but didn't pray and then ask God, am I seeing this correctly? And am I thinking of this the right way? Is my heart postured correctly? And God, how should I do this? How should I say it? What should I say it? Number 2, you got to choose blessings over benefits, y'all. You got to. That's what Abram did. He was prospering and Lot was prospering. And I'm sure that them having workers together, that there was some benefits, right? They looked like a power partnership, right? They looked like they both had it together. And we know that when people see a vision of wealth and power, that people are attracted to that. So there were benefits to this relationship. But Abram said, gosh, you know what? I want God's blessings over the benefits. Yeah, I want God's blessings over the revenue. I want God's blessings over the good pleasures I get from this relationship. Okay? We have to choose blessings over benefits because blessings come from God, the source of all things, whereas benefits from man is just a resource. And I want source. I don't want just resource. How about you? Number 3, be honest about how the relationship, not the person, but how the relationship does not serve your purpose and reiterate your values. Okay? That is so important. Actually, I probably should have put a comma after purpose because I'm not saying how it doesn't reiterate your values. I'm saying you should reiterate your values. Okay? So that's my mistake. Be honest about how the relationship, again, it's not personal. It's not you. You are a prize. You are a blessing. You are God's handiwork, just like I am. But this relationship no longer suits both of us. And I value this too much. I value our friendship too much. I value your business too much. I value our customers being taken care of too much. I value the safety of our employees too much to allow this to continue. It has to be about that. And it also makes sure that your heart is in the right posture. Number 4, you got to state how the separation is mutually beneficial. You know, when it comes to personal relationships, I think one of the best things that we can do is to be honest about the fact that you can't love that person as they deserve to be loved, or you don't see that person as they deserve to be seen because of the inadequacies of the relationship that suits you. Because as humans, we can't help but allow what's happened in the relationship to interfere with how we see that person. That's just the reality. But it's not judgment against them. And that's what we have to be careful with. But it's like, state how it's mutually beneficial. You deserve someone to see you as God sees you. You deserve to be loved in a way and appreciated in a way that I can't. You deserve so much more than what I can give you. I don't have the capacity to meet your needs. This is mutually beneficial. I no longer want to feel inadequate for not being able to fulfill the needs that you have, because I have a great business. I provide a wonderful service. But in this partnership, in this relationship with your business, we're constantly feeling inadequate or coming up short. And we don't have the capacity to expand to meet the needs that you have. Not that you should change. We just don't have the capacity to meet it. Okay? Straightforward. Number 5, defer the other person, organization, or business on the reasonable terms of the separation. If you're breaking a contract, okay, have mediation and defer to them. What do you feel is best? And again, I intentionally put in the word reasonable here. Of course, Lot wanted the best fertile land. Of course he did. He wasn't even supposed to be there, and yet still he wants the best land. Okay? That's just the reality, isn't it? Like, the Bible is real. It is straight up. It is transparent. And that is how it is. And in your mind, you're thinking, here it is. I was the one been taking care of you. I've been doing all of this for you, but yet you want the best of everything. You know what? Okay. Let them have it. Let me tell you why. It's not a reason to fight and bicker and all of that and to just tear down your business, your family, and other partnerships because of this one thing. Don't do it. Guard your heart. Okay. Let them have it. Because let me tell you, if it's not God's will, just like what happened with Lot. In fact, let me tell you what happened with Lot. Because he chose the best land and was moving towards Sodom, we all know what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah. We know what happened to Lot's wife. We know the ridiculousness, the incest, the craziness that happened with Lot and his daughters. And you know who Lot's daughters birthed as a result of them raping their father? Israel's 2 biggest enemies, the Moabites and the Ammonites. And eventually all of them were destroyed. Why? Because Lot was somewhere he was not supposed to be. And it continued and it continued and it continued. I'm jumping ahead to the consequences. But my point here in number 5 is that let them have it. Let them have it. Because regardless, God's purpose is going to prevail. and you're still going to be blessed regardless, okay? By you being in his will. Number 6, so go in peace, y'all. Go in peace. Let it go. No matter what you had to leave behind, no matter what you had to let go of. Why? Because your being in alignment with the will of God is so much more important and valuable than anything you had to let go of. Now you're back on track. Go in peace. Don't try to slander them. Don't try to, do a whole marketing campaign against them. Go in peace. You need to stay on brand. And my prayer is that your brand is, I'm a witness of God and the love of Christ. Brand is being respectful and me not going low and coming out of character simply because I don't like what other people have done. Being on brand is being integral about what I do and why I do it. Go in peace. And number 7, let the grace you extend be worship unto the Lord. Let it be worship unto the Lord. And say to God, my prayer is that I have glorified you in this situation, that I have represented you well. Father, let all the grace, everything I've given, everything I've done in this relationship, I meant the best. I didn't have ill intent. Father, I just pray that when it's all said and done, that it will glorify you and let it be worship unto you. That's how we let go and move on gracefully. And that's what it takes. Okay. All right. So those were the 7 steps. Now, okay, let's talk about these consequences, okay, of counterproductive relationships. I've kind of started touching on them already. I'm giving them to you all at once. Number 1, you're disobedient to God when we get involved in unproductive relationships. These unproductive, counterproductive, unbeneficial, toxic relationships. We're being disobedient. You think God wants that for you? Really? No, he doesn't. But if we were honest with ourselves, we didn't first pray about many of the relationships we get into, regardless of the kind of relationship, to even know if it becomes a partnership. We don't ask God what his will is. Is this the right person to connect with, and so on. And we need to, so we're not disobedient. Number 2, when you get involved in these unproductive or counterproductive relationships, you're out of position. You're out of position. You're unavailable for the purposeful partnership. You put so much into this. You're over here and you're not even available for what God has for you. We don't know. What if, I don't want to go and add to the Bible. I don't want to do that. But my point here is, let's just say if it was us in this situation. What if God's intent was for Abram to meet someone else, another young man who he could cultivate? Right? We don't know. But because Lot was there, it blocked an opportunity to do that. Number 3, you're open to negative influences. Because let's be honest, regardless of how much you love and care for that person, there's still a type of negative influence there that doesn't align with your purpose and intent for your life. And I'm not saying demonic, no, because we're always so quick to want to call things demonic. No, I'm not saying demonic. I'm simply saying just a negative influence, okay, for one reason or another. Number 4, you're misusing your time, treasure, and talent. I used to say you're wasting it, but we don't waste it, because everything, God turns it around into a lesson for us, something that we can use to benefit us and grow us, so that we don't continue to misuse and abuse our time. Okay, treasure and talent. But typically, that's what you're doing. and it's, again, not a waste of time in interacting with people, but misusing, absolutely. Number 5, you've caused a greater impact. I told you what happened after this, because Lot went with them, and then it started to affect generations. 2 generations of people wiped out because of disobedience, because of where he chose to be. And it just continued to have another impact, simply because he was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. Listen, we need to be in alignment. I keep saying it, because it's not just about you. It's about your children. It's about your family. It's about your employees who are going to be affected by that unproductive business partnership you have. It is going to be the community that's affected. It could be generations that are affected because of a poor choice of connecting and being in a relationship with someone, or having a contract with someone that you shouldn't. And then number 6, you hurt the spiritually immature. And we're all at different levels. And I think at some point, at some level, all of us are spiritually immature. We're not where we used to be, but we're not where we're going to be either, in terms of the awareness and revelation we come into of our life, our purpose, what God's intent for us is. But, when you're dealing with people who aren't as spiritually mature as you are in certain areas, you can crush people. You really can. You can really derail people. It can be a sense of even trauma for some people, that they're going to have intensive healing and treatment to help bring them back together, and so be aware of that you're dealing with people's lives here, and you don't want to handle unproductive or counterproductive relationships, or even the letting go of them, in a way that doesn't glorify God, and in a way that is not integral, or is harmful to anyone, as best as you can. Because let's be real, even under the greatest circumstances, you're doing everything you can. You're not being judgmental. You're not cussing people out. You're extending grace, and people can still lose their mind, right? And just come at you. So you do the best you can. Okay. So what are we talking about here, y'all, is we say things like counterproductive, we say things like unproductive, not mutually beneficial, but what we're really talking about is being unequally yoked. Okay? And 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14 through 18 says, do not be yoked together. Yoked. Do not make a contract. Do not be in covenant. Do not be booed up. Okay, don't be shacking and macking. don't be connected, okay, with people who are unbelievers. And when I think about this word unbeliever, of course we know we're talking about people of the faith. But maybe you just don't believe in my purpose. Maybe instead of you understanding how I have to build a table, you're still asking me, when am I going to apply to this table and that table and that table? And I'm like, no, I'm called to build a table. I'm not to apply to tables. I'm not looking for a job. I'm looking to provide jobs. Right? You're an unbeliever. But it continues to say, for what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness? What harmony is there between Christ and Belial, or like the devil, right? Or like a god? I think it's an idol. Or what does a believer have in common with an unbeliever? What agreement is there between the temple of God and for we are the temple of the living God? And so I'm not here to call, me light and you darkness, or me righteousness or you wickedness. No, it's just the heart of the scripture is how can two walk together unless they agree? You know, your purpose is this, mine is that. They're so opposite and so not mutually beneficial to each other that it truly is unequally yoked. And our desire should be in all things to be equally yoked and mutually beneficial. For close here, I just want you to reflect on what decision have you made as a result of this series? I pray that you were truly blessed by it. I truly do. This has been powerful for me, and really thinking about relationships and partnerships, partnerships that I'm praying for my business, and opportunities that I'll be able to provide with other people. That's my prayer. What decision have you made as a result of this series? Okay, just reflect on that for a second. Okay, and finally, let's say some affirmations together. Okay, as we end this series, here's the first one. I attract purposeful partnerships that align with my vision, goals, and values. Okay, did you say that with me? I want you to say it with me, okay? And you can whisper. It's okay if you're not like, you can't really talk out loud. It's okay. Just whisper or just say it in your head. But I want you to say it with me, okay? Let's say that again together. I attract purposeful partnerships that align with my vision, goals, and values. Next one. I am worthy of partnerships that bring mutual growth and success. Next one. I have the ability to communicate effectively and build strong partnerships. Next one. I trust and support my purposeful partnerships, and they trust and support me. And then the last one. I am open to new opportunities and growth through purposeful partnerships. Yay! Awesome. Awesome. Look at you affirming yourself. I love it. Comment and share, y'all. That is it. That's the conclusion of this series, Purposeful Partnerships. Thank you so much for your support and for joining me. I pray that this is truly a blessing to you. But comment, let me know your thoughts, your feedback, anything else you would like to share. But then also share this video on your timeline and your groups. Copy the link and share it in a text, y'all. Be a blessing to someone else. And then I just want to remind you all of my book. As we're talking about purposeful partnerships, it's the second edition of my book called The Man You Need to Marry. And not only does it have 8 devotionals for you, 7 of which are based on 7 women's encounter with Christ. And how these women were transformed by covenant love. And that's what God desires for you, to be transformed by a man's covenant love for you. Okay. And so, ladies, check this out. Okay. Guys, if you're watching, share it with a lady in your life who could be benefited by this. Even order it for them. You can order on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's only $8.99. Not trying to get rich off this book. Clearly, it's just $8.99, but it also includes over 30 journaling prompts, my own personal reflections on these devotionals, as well as the mandalas, the adult coloring pages, because I love to color and it's great for reflection. So check it out, and I would love to hear what you think. And then lastly, again, I'm an executive coaching consultant. Not only do I do one-to-one executive coaching, but I am here to support executive teams as well, boards, board of directors, department heads, whatever that executive team looks like to you, I'm here to support them as well, because an executive is only as strong as their team. And so let's work together towards your goals. Let's have a purposeful partnership. And just give me a call if I can help you. Not so much team building. I don't think a lot of times when you say that, it's like, let's do some exercise. Oh, that's good. But we're going deeper than that. We're talking about matters of the heart regarding how we feel about our values and alignment with the organization, strategies of dealing with change, and all those heart issues that most consultants don't really deal with. We're going to have, it's difficult, intense, intimate conversations about how do we get from where we are to where we need to be? How do we find commonality in each other? How do we work together better as a team by fully seeing each other? And that's what it means to lead the heart, to fully see each other and to lead that person, not our own expectations, but to start where we are as a people. And so I come in and I work with you on that. So give me a call if you just want to like hear more and let me share my heart with you. I would love to do that. We are the Leaders Heart Clinic. So check us out. And you can go to leadmyheart.com to find out more. Okay. So y'all, that's it. Go live and lead with purpose, passion, and power. Okay. Not just purpose is where we start. That's the anchor. But then let's lead with some passion and power as well. Through the power of the Holy Spirit. And also remember, in everything you do and with everything you have, do what? Love God and love people. Goodbye, y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.